Starlink is using the demand surcharge fee to control network capacity in certain congested areas. But it's having some unintended consequences, and there are some crazy stories emerging from existing customers who are facing some of these problems and unintended consequences from the demand surcharge fee, which has me asking the question, has it finally gone too far? Is it getting to the point where it's just ridiculous and doing more harm than good? And in this video, we're going to be talking about it, talking about some recent stories that have happened and exploring this idea of, hey, maybe the demand fee needs to go away. But first, a really quick primer on the demand surcharge fee in case you haven't heard of it. The demand fee replaced the waitlist, the dreaded waitlist that Starlink had in place for years. So before, when Starlink didn't have enough network capacity to serve a specific area, what they did was they just blocked new user signups. They put you on a wait list. You could put it down a deposit and wait your turn to sign up for Starlink and finally get service in a congested area. They did away with that though, and they moved to a demand surcharge fee model. And it kind of works the same way, except instead of blocking new user signups, they effectively block signups by charging a ridiculous amount of money for new user signups. So in some areas, the fee can range from a couple $100s to a couple $1,000. But the demand surcharge fee is having some pretty wild unintended consequences that, in my opinion, just makes Starlink look like a really bad guy in some of these situations. Let me give you an example. Somebody just posted the other day on the Starlink subreddit community on Reddit a story asking for help. Basically what happened is they saw an invoice on their account for $1,500 and they had no idea what it was, so they did a little bit of digging, and on the invoice it listed the charge as a demand surcharge fee. Now this was confusing for them because they were an existing Starlink customer. They hadn't moved. They'd been at the same address, the same home for 3 years on a residential plan, so it didn't make sense to see this demand fee pop up. So they reached out to Starlink customer support naturally to try to resolve this issue. And let's just say Starlink support was not very helpful. I assume they had multiple tickets because they said this went on for about 5 days of chatting back and forth with Starlink support, probably talking to multiple support agents. But before they posted on Reddit, the last response they got was basically support telling them, hey, sorry, dude, we know this was an internal system error on your account. It's not your fault, but we have no way of reversing this, so you're out of luck. Sorry about it. And of course, desperate for help in this situation, facing a $1,500 charge, they posted to Reddit asking for help, hoping that somebody would be able to help them out to resolve this situation. Thankfully, this situation has a happy ending because Starlink support did reach out to this customer after this Reddit post got hundreds and hundreds of upvotes and a lot of attention, and they were able to resolve the issue and reverse the charge. The original poster explained that this was an internal system error. Basically what happened was when they logged into their account, they got a prompt to confirm their service address. It wasn't a change of address, it was just to confirm the address that they'd been at for 3 years. And so the original poster went ahead and confirmed, hey, this is my address. The Starlink support agent told them that when that happened, the latitude and longitude coordinates of their address update or their address confirmation was different just enough to trigger a manual demand surcharge fee charge to their account, just based on that tiny little movement on the map. Even though they were at the same home, the same installation location, it was different just enough to trigger that demand surcharge fee. And that's why they were invoiced that amount. So the right person at Starlink finally got their eyes on it, were able to handle it and reverse that charge. But nevertheless, this customer for 10 days, because it's going to take a few days to process that refund, for about 10 days was out $1,500 that was basically just stolen from their account by Starlink. Pretty ridiculous, pretty insane, especially considering this was an existing customer who had been loyal to Starlink for 3 years at their same address. Why in the world were they charged this demand surcharge fee? Completely unacceptable in my opinion. Another example of how this is having unintended consequences I talked about in a previous video about standby mode. So basically what had happened in this other example is that a person has a seasonal cabin that they use residential service on. In the off season, when they're not at their cabin, they put their Starlink residential service into standby mode. And when they did that, at the time they did that, the policy for standby mode was that when you went to resume service, you wouldn't have to pay a demand surcharge fee if one ever popped up in your area. Now, the really scummy thing about this whole deal is that while that plan was in standby mode, while during the off season, Starlink actually updated their policy on that, and they no longer protect standby mode users from the demand surcharge fee. So while this person was away from their cabin, that happened in the background. They had no idea because Starlink doesn't tell anybody about these changes. When they went back to reactivate their residential service at their location and go back to their normal service plan, they were facing a $1,500 demand surcharge fee. And there's no way, unfortunately, of escaping it in this scenario because Starlink updated their policies. That's within their right. And unfortunately, this customer is just out of luck. They were forced to actually change to a roam service plan instead because roam service plans aren't subject to those demand fees. So in this case, another unintended consequence of the demand surcharge fee affecting existing customers who are using the service, using standby mode in the correct way, just completely unacceptable in my opinion. Which brings us to the question of this video. Has the demand surcharge fee gone too far? Is it to the point where it's doing more harm than good? And I think that's a valid question for us to talk about and for Starlink to ask themselves because of all this negative publicity that are getting online on social media in some of these cases when existing customers are doing nothing wrong, but they're getting these surprise bills for, in some cases, $1,500. Now, personally, I'd rather see the waitlist than a demand surcharge fee because it should be fair for everybody. Just because you have extra money to spend doesn't mean that you should be able to essentially cut in line in front of other people. The waitlist at least was fair in that it treated everybody equally and it was first come, first serve. If your area was at capacity, you had to put down a deposit and wait your turn to sign up for service, no matter how much money you had to blow on a demand surcharge fee. In my opinion, that's the way to go, but Starlink has clearly thought otherwise, and that's okay. I don't really have a problem with the demand surcharge fee if it was implemented properly. And in my opinion, in both of these examples here today, it clearly shows that it is not implemented properly. The main problem in both of the examples that I've covered in this video is that there's really no advance warning from the Starlink systems to tell a customer if they're going to face this huge demand surcharge fee. The person with the seasonal cabin that went from standby mode to residential, the change of service tool in that case should have warned them, hey, your address that you're resuming your residential service on has a demand surcharge fee. And if you change from standby mode to residential, you're going to be billed for that fee. If that was transparent, if that was upfront in the change of service tool on the Starlink app and on the Starlink website, then that whole situation could have been avoided. Likewise, whenever you're changing your service address or confirming it or updating it, if you change from one address to a new address and that new address has a demand surcharge fee, the change of address tool in the Starlink app and on the website should tell you up front, hey, if you change your address and if you confirm, then you're going to be billed a demand surcharge fee. But currently it doesn't do that. There are so many different situations and circumstances where existing customers, just by changing their address or resuming service, are getting hit with this demand surcharge fee when that's really not the original intent of it. The intent of the demand surcharge fee is to discourage new user signups. But what we've seen in some of these examples is that people are getting these surprise bills for, in some cases, $1,500 just for updating their address or resuming service from standby mode. The examples that I've talked about in today's video should be a warning to everybody that uses residential service. Even if you're not going to be changing your address, you're not going to be changing your service plan or pausing your service, just something as simple as doing the required address confirmation in the Starlink app or on the Starlink website could land you a $1,500 bill. And to me, that's just crazy. I definitely think Starlink needs to fix that. But while they work on that, hopefully, what you can do to protect yourself is the following. If you're ever going to update your residential service address or pause and then resume residential service, or change from maybe say roam to residential, what you really need to do is check the address that you're at for the demand surcharge fee. And the way to do that is to visit the Starlink website in a private browsing window or even just logged out of your Starlink account. Go and search for that address and check out like you were a new customer, like you were buying Starlink for the first time. When you get on that checkout page, look at the cost breakdown and see if you see that demand surcharge fee in there. If you don't see a demand surcharge fee and it allows you to check out with a normal total order amount, then you're good to go. You can change your address to the new address if you need to, or change your service plan, whatever you need to do. Now, I've told you what I think about this whole demand surcharge fee mess, but I'd love to know what you think. So I'll turn it over to you now in the comments below. What do you think about the examples that I posted today? I'll post the Reddit link in the description below if you want to go read through all the comments yourself, but I'd love to know what you think about these weird situations that have been happening, the unintended consequences, and whether or not you think the demand surcharge fee should stick around, or maybe they should go back to the wait list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If this was informative or helpful at all, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of my future videos. And I'll see you in the next one.